kick off with what I call the ABC of pullbacks, which should explain how I trade pullback strategies in all time frames. We're then going to look at the three component parts of a pullback strategy: directional bias, the pullback itself, and what I call thrust. So let's start with the ABC of pullbacks. I just mentioned the three components. Here they are again. Directional bias tells us whether we can go long or short, whether we can buy or sell the instrument we're looking at. If the directional bias is long, we can't go short, and if the directional bias is short, we can't go long. By the way, many spread bettors get this wrong, for instance trying to buy a stock when it is in a clear downtrend. Pullback is a move in the opposite direction to the overall directional bias. The pullback gives us a chance to get on board, a bit like a train stopping at a station. Finally, thrust. We don't actually get on board until we have a clear signal that the instrument is heading off back in the direction of the overall directional bias. We're looking for a signal that the move in the opposite direction to the overall directional bias is over. So let's look at a pullback in an uptrend. The overall direction is up. Our directional bias is up. We won't be looking to go short, only long. This is the pullback. Price going in the opposite direction to the overall directional bias. Finally, here is the thrust, a sign that price is heading back in the overall direction of our directional bias. The pullback not only gives us a chance to get on board, we now have a clear place to put a stop and define our risk, which is below the low of the pullback. If price crosses below here, that will tell us we should no longer be in the trade. Something is not right. The resumption of the overall trend is not happening as we had hoped. Now here is a pullback in a downtrend. The components here are exactly the same but in reverse. Directional bias, pullback, thrust, place to put our stop and define our risk above the high of the pullback. Now let's link this to an earlier module. When we have a directional bias and see a pullback, what have we found? We've found a setup. And when we then see a thrust, what have we got? We've got the trigger. There are many tools that can be used to form a directional bias.